It's 8 o'clock. Welcome to the City Newsroom. My name is Vivian Lokko. Tonight I'm here with
Umaru, Sanda, Amadu. Coming up.
Medical staff at the Tamale General Hospital suspend key services in protest after a mob attacked and chased out the chief executive officer of the hospital. We'll bring you the latest from that incident.
Also, the Attorney General and Ministry of Youth and Sports scrambled to find a response as FIFA issues ultimatum to government to withdraw the dissolution processes against the Ghana Football Association in court.
Also coming up, the former board chairman of defunct Capital Bank, Pastor Menson Otterwell, breaks his silence on the role he played in the demise of the bank a year ago as former staff plead for the payment of their benefits.
And later, government reveals a list of senior high schools that would undertake the double-track system when school reopens in September.
To the details, Sanda.
The nurses at the Tamale Teaching Hospital have withdrawn their services following the attack on the hospital's chief executive officer yesterday by some youth groups in the northern region.
Now, a group calling itself the Concerned NPP Youth Coalition, together with the Kandahar Boys, yesterday chased out the CEO of the hospital, Dr. David Kabila, with reasons that he exhibited incompetence, misused hospital funds, among others. Now, speaking to City Newsroom, the secretary of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, Ibrahim Busagre, said they no longer feel safe at the hospital.
Mr. Asari, who is now the Director General, to now, those incidences have been happening, and we are not happy with it. And it seems to be happening with impunity, and we are of the view that if the powers that be in the nation do not let the law of our land work in that regard or with respect to this matter, I'm sure it's going to continue. And again, it is the landlord of the facility or the CEO of the hospital who was manhandled in the manner you saw on the videos that went viral. If it is me who is just a nurse there or a midwife there, they can decide to throw me off the floor, any floor they meet me, and wait for where I land. So our concern is to get that issue addressed once and for all. All the miscreants or the trouble causers behind that should be arrested and prosecuted in respect of the laws of our land. So we have withdrawn our services with immediate effect in the hospital as nurses and midwives. And until those conditions are met, we are not going to rescind our decision to withdraw our services.
So, Sanda, very interesting developments now. But interestingly enough, we've had a lot of condemnations from various quarters of the economy saying that this is not right and people who did this must be brought to book.
Yes,
what are some of the reactions we've been getting so far?
So what we know is that the police have still not arrested anybody. The regional minister has, after a meeting, said that they will be pursuing these persons. But the national youth organizer, who is like the leader of the youth of the New Patriotic Party, has issued a statement, Henry Nanabuachi, and let me just share it with our listeners and viewers. It says the national youth wing of the New Patriotic Party has noted with concern that the despicable act of thuggery, which led to the removal of Dr. David Kolbila, the chief executive officer of the Tamale Teaching Hospital, from his office by a youth group purported to be affiliated to the New Patriotic Party. We unequivocally condemn the actions of the youth and dissociate the youth wing from any cause they sought to advance with their distasteful conduct. Our checks with the Northern Regional leadership of the party reveal that they had no prior knowledge of this action and could not have sanctioned same. It continues to say this is a criminal matter and we consequently call on the security agencies to bring the culprits to book. Now, they should be made to face the full rigor of the law. The party will not condone any act of illegality that would take the shine from the good works of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. I therefore admonish the youth of our party to, at all times, resort to the party structures and lay down procedures in addressing their grievances and never engage in actions that contravene the laws of our country. And that's a statement from the national youth organizer of the party, Henry Nanabuachi. What he has done is almost like a sharp contrast to what the municipal chief executive for Tamale, Idrisu Musa Superior, said to us. He said, of course, the group is known to them. And he said also that he didn't know the individuals involved. But Henry Nanabuachi, what he has said to us on Eyewitness News tonight is that he has spoken to his regional organizer, and he says these are party supporters and that they know them, and that he's going to have the regional youth organizer lead the police to their hideouts and have them arrested. So that sounds like a very firm pronouncement. And and RECSEC has also said they've deployed police people at the facility. Now, mind you, the nurses said they will not return until there's a police station at Tamale Teaching Hospital. So RECSEC, they are going to send police people, then they work with the Ministry for the Interior to bring police station to that particular facility. So that's what we are seeing. But the strikes are ongoing unabated. GMA, I'm sure.
GMA has also released a statement. It's signed by the Vice President of the Ghana Medical Association, Dr. Frank Sribo, and he says the attention of the Ghana Medical Association has been drawn to the forceful removal from office of the Chief Executive Officer of the Tamale Teaching Hospital by a group of concerned youth in Tamale. Indeed, there have been several similar actions in Tamale over the years, and it is gradually becoming the norm and not an exception. It will be recalled that a similar action earlier in the year resulted in the Northern Regional Director of Health Services vacating his post. The GMA considers this trend very disturbing, since it seems to create an atmosphere of insecurity for health workers in the region. The GMA condemns in no uncertain terms these acts of barbarism and lawlessness, and calls on the government not to reward such acts by kowtowing to the demands of these misfits. However, the perpetrators should immediately be brought to book by the security agencies. It is important that the traditional and religious leaders come together with other stakeholders to quickly deal with this matter and nip this canker in the bud. It is a firm belief that these acts of lawlessness contributes greatly to the unwillingness of most health workers and critical staff to accept postings to these areas. The GMA demand a safe and secure environment for all the dedicated health workers who are sacrificing daily to provide health services to the good people of Ghana under difficult conditions. We would like to place on record that if concrete steps are not taken to deal with this cancer, the GMA will not hesitate to ask its members to stay off the hospital premises until their safety can be assured. And indeed, it's not that you spoke to him earlier on one of our platforms, that the Eyewitness News platform, and he spoke extensively on this, especially indeed on the fact that this has been going on for a while. This is not new.
And indeed, the gentleman who was removed yesterday was actually also brought in because someone else was removed. And it's very instructive that someone as important as Dr. Nsiasari apparently was also removed in a similar fashion in this same facility. So it seems to be something that is happening at the Tamale Teaching Hospital. And what the GMA chief said to me on Eyewitness is that because of these, doctors are not willing to accept postings to the Tamale Teaching Hospital, which is a very sad spectacle. Yeah. Mind you, the administrators, there's an association called Health Service Administrators. They have issued a statement. They are very appalled about the situation, and they are cautioning the security agencies to act. Meanwhile, the man who sits at the top of security in the northern region, he's the Northern Regional Minister, Salif Usaid. He has condemned the attack. He held a RECSEC meeting today, and he has given some assurances. Let's listen to him.
President Amadu has made it very clear on several platforms that he happens to be addressing the nation, addressing communities or platforms, that no group, either individual or group of persons, should act in a manner that it will go against the laws of this country, be it party people or non-party people. So this action that took place yesterday, government doesn't associate itself with it. The MPP as a party in Northern Region doesn't associate itself with it. And then also the Regional Security Council and the security members, together with the Tamale Metropolitan Assembly, East MUSEC, we have teamed up to see how we will activate the investigative machinery to identify the perpetrators of the act so that the law will deal with them decisively. But first of all, I also want to thank the hospital, that is the Tamale Teaching Hospital, doctors and nurses and all the workers for maintaining their composure yesterday when the incident happened, and they stayed back to attend to patients. And we want to thank them for demonstrating that high level of commitment to serving humanity. Apart from that, we have come here as a joint security committees, that is the Metropolitan Security Committee as well as the Regional Security Council, to reassure the working staff from the doctors to nurses to cleaners, everybody in the hospital, that they should go about their normal duties. The security will maintain 24/7 security surveillance, constant one, to ensure that no person comes in to do anything to affect the work of the hospital. We will see to it that it is fully addressed, and that is why the security is here.
So Sanda, I think we'll talk.
Yes,
we want the people to be arrested.
We'll hold them to their words, and I'm sure maybe by tomorrow. I mean, this happened on video. We all have seen the guys. I may not know the people in there because I don't live in that vicinity. But if the national youth organizer of the party says that these are known people, then they should be easily apprehendable. I mean, it should be easy to arrest them. And if the police are still sitting on their backside and watching and waiting because these are politicians, and that is a sad situation. They cannot act. Make an example of them, but they will not do that. Right. But we'll be watching. Yeah,
so we'll see tomorrow what happens, whether they're arrested or not. But let's still stay up north, because a heavy rainfall that hit some parts of the Upper West region has cut off dozens of communities in the Upper West regional capital, while the downpour broke down bridges on major roads in the northeastern part of the region, rendering commuters stranded.
Now, the MCE for Jirapa, one of the hardest hit districts, and some officials of the National Disaster Management Organization have been visiting some of the affected roads. My colleague Latif Mahama in the Upper West Regional Capital has the details.
The Upper West region has a total of 4,481 kilometers of roads, comprising highways, urban roads and feeder roads. The region has less than 20% of the roads paved, leaving 80% of them linking the districts to the regional capital untouched. Known for its bumpy and breathtaking deteriorated roads, the region has over the years gained notoriety as one with the least paved roads in the country. The rainy season has further worsened most of the already deplorable roads, especially those in the northeastern part of the region. The Waheng and the Jirapa Ulo Hen roads are completely cut off. The Jirapa Municipal Chief Executive, Christine Bomanya Amadu, together with officials of the National Disaster Management Organization, visited to ascertain the extent of damage on some of the bridges.
This road is a commercial road that is linking communities, let's say from Laura, Dongmene, then linking to Heng and to Ulo, to Tumu, and then go beyond to Liu, which is a commercial town. But the way it has happened, vehicles come and they cannot cross. So it means commercial activities have become halted. If you also look at it, some other people from Chapuri and Heng, they are farming around across the other side. And so they cannot cross, they can't go to their farms.
The Upper West Regional Director of the National Disaster Management Organization, Isaac Seidu, blamed the situation on shoddy work and poor maintenance culture.
I'm not an engineer, but you seen it yourself. You will definitely say that it's a shoddy job that the contractor is done. It's really bad. You can't imagine someone doing such a project without considering bridges. They are not culverts. Even the old ones have been blocked. You can see. All the culverts have been blocked. So it's surprising that an engineer, or I definitely will have to give the place to the engineers, those people supervising the road, not only the contractors.
These shortcomings have impacted negatively on agricultural production, as farmers are unable to cut their farm produce from the hinterlands to market centers.
A lot of people cannot go to the farm. A lot of foods that have been damaged here. People even fell into the house cannot go to the farm. So it caused a lot of problems to the disaster to this community. So
Kalanati delay wahala yaga. Adi ulu palonza. Tisa subiri wa chili delay wahala yaga.
President Nana Addo, in his last visit to the Upper West region, pledged to act with speed to act on these roads. Will his pledge see the light of the day, or it will add up to that of succeeding governments who failed in their promises? Reporting for City TV, Latif Mahama. Wow.
Let's move on now. An sword cutting ceremony has been held for the commencement of the John Ejekum Kufuor estate at Oyoko Akrofum in the Ashanti region by the State Housing Corporation. The estate will see the building of 100 new houses and 125 apartments with 2 or 3 bedrooms. There is more in this report.
President Akufo-Addo, who cast sword for the project's commencement, said the construction will see the creation of 4,000 direct and indirect jobs for Ghanaians. He explained that he was supportive of the decision taken by the Minister for Works and Housing to name the estates after the former president. The estate, according to the Managing Director of the State Housing Corporation, Kwabna Ampofo-Appiah, was named after ex-President John Ejekum Kufuor for his commitments towards ensuring that most Ghanaians have affordable homes.
The Minister for Works and Housing attached here to name this estate after my old boss, John Ejekum Kufuor, as my complete support. I think that in recognition of all that he did to address the housing deficit when he was president, this is a very fitting tribute, and it is a privilege for me to be able to honor my old boss, John Ejekum Kufuor.
The president also announced the commencement of the construction of 100 homes for the Ghana Health Service in Syria in the Ashanti region, the redevelopment of Kandai and Ringway estates in Accra, and the Anaji estates in the Western region this year.
The second phase of the project in Syria. Altogether, some 4,000 direct and indirect jobs are going to be created out of this development. I want to take the opportunity to congratulate the State Housing Corporation for this initiative and to tell them that I support the request of the Oyoko that they should employ local people. That should be the first call, and they should employ local people in the execution of this project.
You're still watching the City Newsroom on City TV, coming to you from number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka in Accra. I am Umaru Sanda. Amadu here with
Vivian, Lokko.
When we come back, the government has revealed, or rather publicized, a list of senior high schools that would undertake the double track system when schools reopen in September.
Tune into the Breakfast Daily on City TV. Stoneboy SSO. Keep it locked. Don't log off.
We spice up your mornings with culturally enriched conversations, social interviews, and policy-oriented discussions that will keep you updated on the progress of the nation.
And that is the reason I was making the point to him that I refrained from responding to this Joyce Bauer statement. Because if some citizens have accused President Mahama of diverting a certain amount of money, deal with that, deny same, and move on with your life.
Join the Breakfast Daily team Monday through Fridays from 7:30 a.m. to 10. Let your voice be heard with the hashtag Breakfast Daily. Join us for breakfast daily, only on City TV.
Tune in to The Point of View, Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 p.m. as Bernard Avlet takes the news further. He will bring the right guests, ask them the relevant questions, and get you the real insights you need on the big stories for the day.
I said, property tax, I will pay. If you come to my house, I'll cut you a check. But when did I do my presentation? February?
Yes.
Or February, yes, sometime. Nobody has come to my house.
Really?
Ghana is broke. And, that's the reality we must all come to live with.
The Point of View with Bernard Affleck, Monday and Wednesday nights, only on City TV.
Welcome back to the City Newsroom. My name is Vivian Lokko. Now, the Kumasi Rattray Park, touted as one of the best tourist destination sites in the country, is gradually losing its glory. The facility, which cost millions of dollars, was constructed under the S.W. Mahama administration. But as City News' Ashanti regional correspondent Hafiz Tijani reports, the amusement park is fast deteriorating.
The Rattray Park has been in the news for the bad reasons after its inauguration. Aside the political wrangling over its cost at the time, officers from the Ghana Revenue Authority on September 2016 locked up the place for non-payment of tax. On 30th August 2017, a USB drive containing operating software for the facility's dancing fountain was also stolen, a development which had taken a toll on its operations. Wondering where to go for relaxation on a sunny Sunday, I chose the Kumasi Rattray Park to cool off after a hectic week. At the entrance, I paid 10 Ghana cedis to secure a ticket. One thing that struck me was the huge number of patrons who usually thronged the park had reduced. The low patronage of the facility can largely be blamed on the poor maintenance culture. Walls around the fountain are falling off. Although the washrooms are kept clean, there is no soap for patrons to wash their hands after using them. The canteen has also been deserted. As if that is not all, the water from which the dancing fountain sits is also developing algae. These patrons share their observations.
I was surprised to see a lot of playing equipment being destroyed. There are holes. Some of the exercising equipment are all rusty. The grass are not really weed well. And coming down there, I saw a lot of plastic rubbish surrounding one particular area, and I wasn't happy about it.
I couldn't even get to after using the washroom to wash my hand.
It's like the place is not maintained well. I mean, the maintenance culture here is very, very poor. From the first time I came here and my observation today, I've observed like the place is not well kept.
Looking at the place so far, it's been 3 years since opening, and it's like the place is deserted. It's like a desert now. Honestly, I wonder what can be done to be able to keep the place up. It's completely down.
The facility at the children's playground are rusty, with others fast deteriorating.
There's only one facility for the children and it's not fair. And the gym place is like a children's part where it's old and rusty.
The facilities are very poor and children won't be able to play a lot because of the poor facilities. So someone has to come and help us so the children will have more fun here and more people will come here.
The facility, which was inaugurated by former President John Dramani Mahama and Asante Hene Otumfuo Nana Osei Tutu II in June 2015, was christened Rattray in honor of Captain Robert Sunderland Rattray, a Scottish who was the Assistant Colonial Secretary in the Gold Coast and clerk to the Legislative Assembly of Accra in 1919. 3 years on, residents in Kumasi fear the Rattray Park is on the verge of collapse if not given the needed attention.
Parents and guardians who bring their kids to the children's park area of the Kumasi Rattray Park are not happy about the state of the facilities here. An example is this slide where most of the kids spend their time playing in. The slide has started developing some pros. A development parents are not happy because they are worried about the safety of their kids. Reporting from the Rattray Park in Kumasi, my name is Hafiz Tijani for City Newsroom.
Now, the lawyer for the Ghana Football Association, Amanda Clinton, believes FIFA's ultimatum to government to withdraw its petition to have the GFA dissolved is proof that government has been wrong all along. The GFA petitioned the world governing body FIFA, contesting the government's legal jurisdiction to wind down the association weeks after the Attorney General presented a petition to dissolve the GFA over corruption allegations contained in an investigative video by Anas Arimiao Anas. But in the face of FIFA's 10-day ultimatum to government to withdraw the dissolution petition, the GFA's lawyer said government should avoid embarrassing itself. Let's get more on this particular issue, and I've been joined in studio by Head of City Sports, Nathan Koyo. Welcome to City Newsroom, Nathan.
Hi,
where does this leave us, first of all, the ultimatum and directive from the FIFA?
Well, essentially, it gives government 13 days to either go with the tune or go the other way. Going with the tune would mean taking the case out of court and trying to play to FIFA's tune, because FIFA, according to that letter that was signed by Fatma Samura, the entity secretary, saying that all of what government is doing, especially the bits about winding the GFA up and dissolving it, amounts to government interference. And if it proceeds, then Ghana will be very close to a ban, or Ghana will be very likely to get a ban. The other way the government can go is to tell FIFA that, well, the courts are not open until October, so you have to give us time until October, and then we think of whether or not we want to pull the case out. Or government can just tell FIFA, we'll still go ahead with this, we'll still pursue our case, you can ban us if you want, but that is what we are hell-bent on doing. In the beginning,
we got the impression that FIFA was playing the government's ball, because immediately Anas's video came out, Nyantichi was handed a 90-day ban.
Yes.
And then they sent their delegation to have a meeting with the government of Ghana. Many thought that FIFA was in on this until last night's statements. Well, surprising, isn't it?
Yes, a little surprising. FIFA's standard punishment of giving a 90-day ban is procedure.
Okay.
Once somebody has presented some documentation mentioning an official's name that this person is perceived to have misconducted himself or herself, the first thing FIFA will do is to freeze you for 90 days while they look into the matter. And that's what happened to Mr. Kwesi Nyantichi. It is true also that FIFA spoke to Ghana, both in Accra and then in Switzerland. They had different meetings. What is surprising is, like you're saying, is FIFA's latest 10. Now, one would ask what was said in those meetings, what directives were given to government, and what was the scope of work of the liaison team which came out of those meetings. Now, if you have answers to that, then you probably lead yourself to understanding why FIFA is taking this stand. So again, the people who were in those meetings are the best people to tell us what FIFA said explicitly, in line with, one, Ghana either getting a ban, or how far governments could go in dealing with its case in courts with the GFA. Remember, FIFA's letter stated that it wasn't too clear of the scope of government's investigation. So if government can clarify to FIFA what it's doing, then FIFA will either have a change of heart or decide that, okay, we are still giving you 13 days to get yourself sorted out, or we give you.
Who are the people in this meeting that we can be questioning?
Well, the sports ministry for one.
The minister,
yes,
Isaac Esiama,
yes,
he should be answering some questions or telling us something.
Yes, some people from the Attorney General's department. I know that Mr. Godfrey Dami has sat in some of the meetings, both in Accra and in Zurich, and so those two entities, Godfrey Dami and the Attorney General's office, representing government, and then Isaac Esiama representing the sports ministry, which by extension is government, but you see them as a little independent.
There was a directive from government at the time to the members of the association that was being dissolved, not to meet with the FIFA officials. Do we know if they ever had a meeting with FIFA officials when they came to Accra?
Only two members, one Alex Asante, the other whose name I've forgotten, but there were two of them. Alex Asante was one. He was in primarily because at the time, Ghana's under-20 female team, the Black Princesses, were getting ready to go and play the Women's Under-20 World Cup in France. It's a FIFA-sanctioned tournament. Ghana had qualified legitimately, so they had to be giving a way of registering their team, even though the deadline had elapsed. So he sat in that meeting primarily to sort out those aspects of the discussion. I cannot confirm whether or not he sat in the discussions which looked at the reforms, way forward, and how to restructure Ghana football.
Okay, before the afternoon, we heard that the government was going to come out with information on the state of affairs or its response. Have we seen anything or any indication?
As of the time I was making this appearance, nothing of that sort had come to my notice. So we are still waiting for government's response to determine whether, to see what the way forward is, whether government would go along with FIFA or take, dig its heels into the ground and determine that, okay, we will take this matter through.
Finally, this statement from FIFA sounds a bit supportive of the GFA. Does it give any hope to Kwesi Nyantakyi and the people who are going down at the GFA quarters following Anansi's expose?
No, I will not say it gives them hope, because this is a decision that is taken in relation to all countries that FIFA deems to have been caught in this web of interference. It may give the GFA a bit of a moral fight to say that, okay, so government was wrong all along. But of course, it still doesn't mean that the people who were implicated in the tape will be exonerated or otherwise. Okay. Government still has a right to pursue these people via a criminal case, and if it feels that it has to do it, I think it will.
FIFA in its statement now says it's either its way or the highway. Yes. Should the government of Ghana choose the highway, what are the implications?
Well, if government says we will still go on with what we are doing, Ghana will get a ban per FIFA's letter.
Now, what is a ban?
What it would mean is that Ghana would be frozen out of all international football competitions or anything that is sanctioned by FIFA. For example, there's an African Cup qualifier which is happening next month between Kenya and Ghana. Now, if Ghana gets banned, Ghana can't take part in that qualifier. Now, that qualifier may be under CAF, but FIFA supervises all things world football. And if you have been banned, you cannot take part in anything that involves your country and another country.
Not even friendlies?
Not even friendlies. Another thing it would mean in reverse is that no country can have contact with you. And then it would also go on to affect Aduana Stars. They are playing in the CAF Confederations Cup as we speak. They will not be allowed to take part in the competition anymore. And then all national teams who play football cannot take part in any football or international football competition.
So we can only play inter-corps and possibly
play in Ghana, pass the ball amongst ourselves.
But it will not register anyway.
It can't go anywhere.
Thank you very much, Nathan Kwao, head of sports. Let's pray that doesn't happen. Let's pray that there's some solution, either in the courts or out of the courts. This is City Newsroom on City TV. I am Umaru, Sanda, Amadu. Let's move on. And the Inspector General of Police, David Asante-Apietu, has announced a partnership between the police and the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, the DVLA, to clamp down on drivers who use car sirens unlawfully. The police has been widely criticized for the inability to arrest drivers who misuse sirens on the roads, especially in the cities.
The Inspector General of Police noted that the latest move was necessitated by the chaos these defiant road users cause. David Asante-Apietu, who was speaking at a joint press conference organized by the two bodies, also admonished the public to report such incidents for immediate arrest.
This joint press conference is intended to address the growing misuse of sirens by certain individuals and institutions in the country. The practice of illegal use of sirens poses a huge risk to unsuspecting road users, not to mention a disincentive to our collective fight against noise pollution. That the police MTTD, in collaboration with the Enforcement and Compliance Unit of the DVLA, have been empowered to either impound or arrest any driver or vehicle during this routine road checks, effective immediately. Statistics available indicate that we are losing over 500 lives every quarter through road traffic crashes. The DVLA is improving on its vehicle roadworthiness checks and driver licensing regime to ensure that only those qualified to drive are issued driver's license, and only those vehicles which pass roadworthy tests are permitted to operate on our roads. The police MTTD will complement this effort by increasing roadside checks and ensuring that recklessness and lack of adherence to posted speed limits and other regulations become a thing of the past.
The CEO of the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, Mr. Kwesi Ajman, also indicated that the DVLA will collaborate with the police to ensure that the unlawful usage of siren is eliminated from the system.
The real question is about those who mount fog lights on the tracks and so forth, and they turn the roadways into their own homes. That is illegal. That is prohibited. When they come to us for renewal or registration, those things will come off and the law will be applied. It's easy for us to apply it during the registration renewal, and you go home and then we put it back on. That's when enforcement comes in. That's what the IGP said. That's what we have it as a focus of trying to once and for all nip this insanity in the bud. So that's what we're going to try to do. We also collaborate with the police, with enforcement. In fact, that activity has started. They are probably on their third or fourth day before this press conference. And so we do have kind of a symptom of what is going on in real life. And so it will be enforced. And so
Vivian, I can see a car in there that looks like you.
A what?
A car in there.
I would never ever do that.
Sure, but you're qualified to have it.
I won't do that. Why would I do that? If you want to arrive somewhere early, leave home early, or leave wherever you are early. And for some reason, if you cannot leave wherever you are early, you need to go by the rules. Stay in traffic like everybody else.
And what if you're a presidential staffer and you're at Kanishin, checking one or two things, and the president calls you? You have to find your way there.
That's the excuse everybody gives. Yes. And in most cases, the president hasn't summoned any of them. That's what everybody says.
Okay, you know what's sad for me, though? This directive and instruction we are hearing there, this about 1,000 times I'm hearing them if I've heard them once.
That's right.
And I don't want to be a cynic, but I really pray that this will happen. Because, you have the experience. The vehicles are always there. And they almost want to knock you off the road. Mm-hmm. And you check, they are not even legitimate or allowed to be using what they're using. But the police are standing by the road, and they are not able to man up and stop the people and ask them, because you don't know which big man is sitting in there.
Yeah, that's right. And for example, my route to the house, every day around 6:30, there are these two particular Land Cruiser guys. Mm-hmm. They put on their siren every day and go through every day. So are you telling me that every day around that time something happens for them to be summoned or something? They're just beating traffic. This is around 7 or 8 o'clock.
Maybe they're guiding you. Guiding angels.
So, during Mohammed's administration, this directive was also put, into motion, and nothing happened. And, I don't know whether people, like you said, they're afraid to stop these people and arrest because of who it may turn out to be. But who does this law apply to? Some, or just
we know that the exempt vehicles are the ambulance, the fire service, and the police. Yet we see all manner of vehicles on the roads, and they're using these sirens. So it's almost like a law now. If you have a V8 and it's tinted, you can beat traffic.
Slap the siren or the flashers and just go.
And you're gone.
Maybe I should get a V8.
You already have. Maybe we should just get the new one. Should have with that fitted to it.
Well, you're still watching the City Newsroom. My name is Vivian Lokko. Tonight I'm here with
Umaru, Sanda, Amadu.
When we come back, the former board chairman of the defunct Capital Bank, Pastor Mensah Otabil, breaks his silence on the role he played in the demise of the bank a year ago. Also, staff plead for the payment of their benefits. Don't go away.
Tune into the Breakfast Daily on City TV, Stoneboy SSO. Keep it locked, don't log off.
We spice up your mornings with culturally enriched conversations, social interviews, and policy-oriented discussions that will keep you updated on the progress of the nation.
And that is the reason I was making the point to him that I refrained from responding to this Joyce Bauer statement. Because if some citizens have accused President Mahama of diverting a certain amount of money, deal with that, deny same, and move on with your life.
Join the Breakfast Daily team Monday through Fridays from 7:30 a.m. to 10. Let your voice be heard with the hashtag Breakfast Daily. Join us for breakfast daily, only on City TV.
For regular news checks as they unfold, 2020 news, all day, all the time. Politics, sports, entertainment, business, and more. 2020 news. We bring you the world in 20 minutes.
And that's all the news in 20 minutes.
Go.
Hello and welcome to another day, another week, and of course another episode of 30 Minutes. We're excited and we will be talking about all the trending conversations.
Spend 30 minutes every weekday catching up with all the trending social media conversations of the day. If you tweet it, we'll read it. We might just even Skype you.
Shata, why are you being so raw and hard like that? But at the particular time, that's what I wanted to do it. But that doesn't mean you are my enemy.
That's
We can still meet again and Shata, this time we are about to do, don't come and do that nonsense. Okay, please, I won't do it. And we'll give respect to each other. But sometimes I feel, when we are all humans. When somebody says something about me, Shata, hey, no, I might want to say something.
Yeah.
So, but when I say it, people shouldn't take it like, taking things, personal and stuff. I've understood showbiz now, and I really want to work on it.
30 minutes is all it takes, so use the hashtag 30minutes on social media to catch our attention. Join the most interactive social media TV show weekdays at 5 p.m. only on City TV.
Good evening, this is The Point of View. We're live on City TV.
Tune in to The Point of View, Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 p.m. as Bernard Avlet takes the news further. He will bring the right guests, ask them the relevant questions, and get you the real insights you need on the big stories for the day.
We need taxes to run the economy. How do you do it sensibly and have the least pernicious effect in terms of cascading through the economy? And I think that is the thinking that is required. It's not a denial that we need taxes, and I think that is the difference in the two administrations.
The Point of View with Bernard Avlet, Monday and Wednesday nights, only on City TV.
You're welcome back. Now, an alumnus of the University of Ghana, Samuel Andrews, has filed a suit against the University of Ghana together with the Attorney General, the Public Procurement Authority, London-based construction company CPA Integras, Ghana Investor Limited, and former Vice-Chancellor of the University, Professor Ernest Aite, over the school's $64 million contract with the construction company.
Now, according to lawyer of the plaintiff, Kweku Pantel, the defendants must be brought to book if they knew the financial loss and the country stood to make at the time the concession contract was signed.
The University of Ghana in 2014, under the leadership of Professor Ernest Aite, as Vice-Chancellor, signed a $64 million build, operate and transfer agreement with Africa Integras for the latter to construct 4 academic facilities and a 1,000-bed hostel facility. When Professor Ernest Aite's tenure ended, his successor, Professor Ebenezer Odro-Wusu, raised concerns about the contract. After review of the contract, he ordered for a halt in all projects under the agreement. He subsequently demanded an abrogation of the contract through a London arbitrator. The London arbitrator is reported to have quashed the demand and awarded a judgment debt of $160 million to Africa Integras. The arbitrator disagreed with the university's claim that the agreement was not enforceable since it did not follow due process. In a recent development, An alumnus of the University of Ghana, Samuel Andrews, has sued the university, its former Vice-Chancellor Ernest Aite, Public Procurement Authority, Africa Integras, and the Attorney General, demanding an abrogation of the contract. In an interview with City News, counsel of the plaintiff, Kwesi Yamoa Pencil, revealed that the action is to ensure there is value for money, since the university did not follow procurement rules in signing the agreement.
Simply that the University of Ghana, in entering into a contract with CPA Integras, based on the due diligence that we have conducted, shows and suggests quite clearly that they went outside the Public Procurement Act, which is the enabling statute that regulates the activities of all institutions which by the law are required to undertake all procurement activities under the aegis of that law. And the simple point that we made by this argument, by this case before the Supreme Court, is that to the extent of those deviations, to the extent of those breaches, to the extent that the contracting parties failed to comply with those statutory regulations as well as government policies relating to public procurement in that particular contract, they failed to save the country what in the procurement business is called value for money. But it was quite clear that every avenue opened to the plaintiff to try and possibly see whether it is even worth going to court.
The plaintiff's case is on the principle of value for money. They are seeking from the Supreme Court to cause the abrogation of the contract. They are also seeking other declaratives as well from the office complex of the counsel for the plaintiff, Pencil and Co. Reporting for City News, Hansen Ajeman.
An aspiring Volta Regional Secretary of the NDC, George Lowe, has made a passionate call on Ghanaians to allow the law take its due course in the matter involving the collapse of Capital Bank. Now, the board chairman of the defunct bank, who is also the founder and general overseer of the International Central Gospel Church, has come under intense public criticism over the issue. Now, Dr. Mensa Otabil, in a statement released today, has denied his direct involvement in the woes of the financial institution. And let me bring to you what he said in that statement. According to him, I have observed with concerns the ongoing media discussions regarding developments in the banking sector, and my role, either directly or indirectly, I accepted to be board chairman of Capital Bank in a bid to help strengthen a promising Ghanaian enterprise that had potential but also challenges. I was excited about the prospects of a young man from a disadvantaged background who was daring to create opportunities and employment. My position was a non-executive role. I was therefore not involved in the day-to-day management and operations of the bank. In the course of time, some decisions made turned out well, while some did not turn out as well as had been anticipated. As far as I can tell, everything was done with the best of intentions and the interests of various stakeholders in mind. My foremost concern has been the case over the past year is for the well-being of those who lost their jobs and those who may have been adversely affected in any way as a result of these developments. My heart goes out to them and their dependents. I continue to pray for God's guidance and sustenance as they navigate the course of their lives. Since the takeover of the bank exactly a year today, various mandated state institutions have been investigating and working to arrive at a comprehensive understanding of what happened, why it happened, and who was responsible for what. I have been invited by Lokko, and I have submitted myself to their processes and answered all questions faithfully. Now, for some time now, he continues in the statement, many discussion platforms have made varied references to me and to my perceived role. Some have reached out to me for clarifications regarding issues that have been raised. Now, according to the statement, I have preferred not to respond in the public domain, not as an admission of guilt, but out of respect for the due process of the ongoing investigations. Notwithstanding some unforeseen outcomes, I remain resolute in my belief in the Ghanaian and African entrepreneurial spirit. I will therefore continue to lend my support and mentorship to inspire others who dare to dream and work towards the promise of Africa's growth and transformation. Meanwhile, as a believer in the rule of law, I will continue to cooperate with the mandated institutions of state as they complete their investigations. I'm confident in the process. The national interests and the rights of all parties involved will be protected. And shalom, peace, and life to you. Signed by Dr. Mensa Otabil. Now, yesterday we did announce that Mr. Atu Essien was due to have a press conference to react to some of the allegations against him, etc. He cancelled that this morning. But the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, did have a press conference to speak about the development story. And he gave the strongest indication in that press conference that government will make sure all persons involved in the collapse of the banks in the country face the law. Now, according to him, the banking system did not fail, but rather individuals stole depositors' funds for their own personal use. Now, Mr. Ofori-Atta maintained that everybody found culpable will be made to answer to their roles in the collapse of the banks. Let's watch that press conference.
So far, there seems to be some improvement in the speed of payment of VAT refunds. That's responsible from our side. But the VAT penetration is also very low, and we need to get over that. Payment of due VAT refunds through bank transfers instead of checks seems to be going on well. Development of tracking arrangements for requests for private ruling letters to ensure from responses, and development of an institutional database for tax rulings to avoid duplicating and conflicting. Some progress is being made. And the team also participated in the discussions and made inputs into the revenue proposals for our mid-year budget review.
In the mid-year budget review presented to Parliament in July, government introduced a number of new tax measures, including luxury vehicle levy, the 2.5% education levy, to replace the 2.5% VAT assigned to Get Fund, and decoupling the NHIL and education levy from the VAT computation. These new policies, among others, are expected to cause some legal issues. But Mr. Ofori-Atta is optimistic alternative measures can be used to settle such disputes.
But clearly, once we begin to do this, we're going to have quite a number of some of your clients sending us to court. And so we hope that the ADR mechanisms will be used effectively. And we did promise in the budget to institute alternative ways for resolving these, and we pray that we'll be able to follow that,
Now let's move on to some other stories. And government has released a list of some 400 senior high schools across the country that will operate the much-touted double-track system from September this year. The 400 selected schools out of 696 are expected to accommodate the thousands of students who will benefit from the free SHS program. Sami Wiafi has more.
The schools, according to the Ministry of Education, were carefully selected to meet the large number of students who will qualify for secondary education in September. This year, over 180,000 students are expected to gain admission into SHS. In all, 79 schools were selected from the Ashanti region, whilst 41 from the Bono Ahafo region. In the Central region, 45 schools were selected and 60 from the Eastern region. 42 schools were selected from the Greater Accra region and 33 from the Northern region. 18 and 19 schools were selected from the Upper East and Upper West regions respectively. In the Volta region, 30 schools have been selected and 35
from the Western region. The list from the Education Ministry comes weeks after President Akufo-Addo announced that not all senior high schools will be engaged for the double-track system.
Let me make it clear that this double-track calendar system is not going to be applied to all senior high schools, but only to those whose current capacity will be exceeded by the numbers of admitted students. This system will not destroy our education system.
So we'll still stay with that story, and I've been joined in the studio by my colleague Kojo Ajiman to delve further into this matter. Kojo Ajiman, welcome to the City Newsroom.
Thank you very much, Vicky.
So a number of schools have been chosen for the double track, but others haven't. Let's run us through the various regions. What numbers we are looking for Greater Accra, the Ashanti, and throughout the other regions? What numbers are we looking at?
So out of the 696 schools, government chose 400. It means that we have 296 left. When you come to the Greater Accra, we have 42 schools. Ashanti region, we have 79 schools. Central region, 45 schools. Eastern region, 60 schools. Volta region, 28 schools. Bono Ahafo region, 41 schools. Western region, 35 schools. The Northern region, 33 schools. Upper East, 19 schools. And then the Upper West, 18 schools. The highest region, the highest number is in the Ashanti region. That is 79 schools. And when you go through the list, all the Category A schools are part of the 400 that have been selected because, one, they have the facility to handle the numbers. So when you go to Accra region, we have schools like the Achimota School, Accra Girls, your alma mater, and then we also have St. Thomas Aquinas, Accra High School, and all that. So, for example, the Greater Accra region, I'm using Accra Girls. The number of students expected to leave school this year are 588. So, per the track, we have 453. So when you multiply that by 2, we are getting 906. That is the number of students expected in Form 1 or expected for the double track system in September.
Okay. Yeah. So the Greater Accra region, you've mentioned the number of schools: Accra Girls, Achimota, Presec, Accra Academy, etc. on that list. What is the situation for the Central region?
Well, the Central region too, we have all the Category A schools, as I said. We have the Wesley Girls, Adisadel College, Infantsfam School. So, for example, when you take the Wesley Girls, they are expecting 465 students to leave school this year. That's the 2018 academic year. And then in September, they're expecting 359 students. That's per one track. So double that, they are expecting 718. So when you look at the numbers, I believe the schools were carefully selected because the numbers the president or the projections are that they are expecting over 193,000 students per track. When you multiply that by 2, we have 387,000 and over. So it means that these schools have been taken through. They've been oriented, the teachers there have been oriented. We also have the needed teaching learning materials to make sure that the free SHS, that's a double track system, will be implemented. Okay, Kojo Ajiman, we have to leave it here. Thank you very much. So government has finally released the schools that have been selected for the double track system. We are told over 400 schools have been selected for that. In the Greater Accra region, we are looking at the likes of Achimota School, Presec, Accra Girls, etc. For the Central region, the likes of Adisadel, Infantsfam, and others. We'll bring you more on this story, but you can log on to our website where we have the list of the schools that have been selected. Sanda,
I didn't hear Temasco. That's very unfair.
Oh, I need to check for you. I think
Please check for me. Temasco Secondary School ought to be there. Otherwise, we are going to sign a petition and we'll make sure.
But if you don't have the infrastructure, you can't force us to bring.
We do have it. The FK Boa Hall is big. The dining hall is big. In fact, we have Afghanistan, with Mecca. We have.
What's the name of a hall?
Yeah,
officially?
Yes, Mecca is a Form 1 block.
Okay.
Yeah, you travel across the valley to go to Mecca.
Wow.
We have alligators, lizards,
okay,
monkeys.
We'll find out if that is true, but we have to leave it here. Do log on to our website, citynewsroom.com, to get more stories and the list of the schools that have been chosen. I was here with
Umaru, Sanda, Amadu.
Thank you so much for your time. Good night.